This video is specifically for Armani, who is one of my students who I used to work with a ton down in Puerto Rico. He was asking me about like a practice regimen, something that he can do over the summer. He's not quite into his full college golf schedule yet, and he's kind of just doing random practice. So now when I was playing, I had about 10 hours of practice scheduled every single day. That was 4 hours of short game, 4 hours of playing, 2 hours of hitting balls. It's not realistic for like 99.9% of the people out there, but if you want to have consistent improvement, you have to have some level of consistent practice. So I think you can scale this any way you want to based on your time. So you just heard mine was 10 hours a day. You could scale that down to 1 hour a day or even 3 hours a week, something like that. But I'm just going to give you what my practice schedule was, and then you can take that and scale it any way you want. If you're a member of samgoldengolf.com, you've already got access to a lot of this stuff. So you can get like the short game course, has all the checklists and the scoring mechanism, the boxes and everything set up. So take advantage of that if you are a member of samgoldengolf.com. If you're not, just jot some of this stuff down if it seems pertinent to you. Number one, I would do 100 putts from 3 feet, 100 putts from 6 feet, 100 putts from 9 feet every day. And I would do 5 balls from 4 locations around the hole. So if I were putting around the hole, it's like a clock. I'd set 5 balls up at 12 o'clock, and I'd putt those straight into the hole. And then I'd set 5 balls up at 3 o'clock, 5 balls up at 6 o'clock, 5 balls up at 9 o'clock. I did that so I would have varied breaking putts. Even though it's just a 3-footer, there was still some break to it. So I'd do 5 times, around 4 times, that's 20. You do that 5 times, that's 100 putts. Then I would do that for 6 feet and 9 feet as well. And I would write down my results after every round to see how many out of 100 I got. So I think the measurement is very, very critical when we're talking about this. But on to the next thing. So I would, again, do 3, 6, 9-foot putts, and then I would play 18 holes on the putting green, which for me meant that I would take 1 ball and drop it about 20 feet from the hole, and I would try to make a birdie. I would think of it like I was in a tournament round and try to make it. If I didn't make it, I would finish it up, and I would see how many under par I could shoot on 18 holes. So I'd have 18 20-foot putts from different locations, and I was just trying to see how many of those 18, let's say that means like if I hit 18 greens in regulation that round and I was 20 feet from the hole, what would I shoot? And then again, you're writing that down every time, so you're getting some measurable results that you can compare to see if you're improving. So after putting, I would go to chipping. I would do 5-yard, 10-yard, 15-yard, and 20-yard chips, 10 balls each, and I would measure my distance to the hole with each ball. If I got it within 3 feet, I got 3 points. If I got it within 6 feet, I got 1 point. If I made it, I got 5 points. So if I hit 10 chips and I got them all within 3 feet, I would have 30 points. And that became my baseline, to get all my chips within 30 feet. Creates a little pressure, kind of gets fun. I would do 5, 10, 15, 20-yard chips, and you can use whatever club you want, and 10 balls each to get those numbers. And then I would add 10-yard, 15-yard, and 20-yard pitches. So I'd go to different areas around the green and do pitches. So pitches being shots that fly a little bit more through the air rather than just chips. And I would do the same thing. I would see how many balls out of 10 I could get within 6 feet, 3 feet, or in the hole. And after that, I would play 18 holes, and I would treat every 18-hole round like it was a US Open. So my goal back when I was playing was to win the US Open. So every single shot in every round I played, I treated like the US Open, and I wrote down every stroke, and I kept every score because I wanted, again, measurable results so I could see if I was improving over time. And then the final thing is I would hit balls. So 2 hours of ball striking every night. And I would do that on a launch monitor with the same ball that I played with, and I would measure every result. So I would start with my wedge game, and I had three swings with 3 different wedges for 9 total distances with my wedge game. And if you've seen the dominant wedge game video, you probably don't need to listen to this, but what I would do is I'd make a first position swing with my 56-degree wedge, and I'd hit 40 balls. So I would turn back to hands to waist high, turn through. So I'd hit 40 of those. And then I'd do that with my lob wedge, and I'd do that with my gap wedge. So I'm at 120 shots. Then I would go to my second position, which is a shoulder turn to left arm parallel to the ground, and I'd hit 40 shots there with sand wedge, lob wedge, and gap wedge. And then I'd go to a full turn, which is just what it sounds like, a full backswing turn. Not full power, but full turn. And I'd hit 40 sand wedges, then 40 lob wedges, then 40 gap wedges. What this did is it made me incredibly sharp at my wedge game And it also made me really confident at my distances. So when I was on the course, there was never a doubt when I had a shot, when I had a wedge in my hand. If anything, I was overly confident when I had a wedge in my hand. The rest of it, I don't really remember, to be honest. It was probably about, if I were gonna guess, I'd say it was probably about 15 pitching wedges, 15 7-irons, 15 4-irons, 10 3-woods or hybrids, and 5 drivers. Because after hitting 360 wedges, you're not hitting hard wedges. You're not like aggressively hitting these wedges. You're just turning and turning. So after hitting 360 wedges, my swing felt so grooved that every shot I hit after that was just like another swing. It wasn't like I was working on things really. I was just sort of maintaining that same sensation in my swing. So that was my practice regimen. I didn't do a lot of working out while I played. If you're interested in getting speed or more strength or stability, I've got a speed course on samgoldengolf.com that will give you 10 days worth of drills that will get you 10 miles per hour guaranteed. But just specifically on practice, that is what I did, and that is what I suggest, to have measurable practice sessions that you can, where you can gauge your improvement and get the most out of your game and your practice every day. Hopefully this is just a good model for what I learned at this point, what I believe is the best way to get the most out of all of your game. Oh, and you might notice I didn't mention bunker play. In 2012, I spent like a month working on my bunker play, and I got to where I could get 30 balls every time within 6 feet from 15 yards out of the bunker. That was my goal, and I would do that every day. So then I played the US Open qualifier, and I played in San Antonio, and I shot like 73 or something, and after the round, I was like, wow, I wasn't in a single bunker today. And then at that point, I started looking at the number of bunkers that I would get in, greenside bunkers that I was in throughout the course of a series of events, and it was so small. I would be in like one every 3 rounds. So I just stopped practicing out of the bunker. If you need bunker help, you might want to check out my sand course. That's also on samgoldengolf.com. But for just overall game improvement, everyday, daily stuff, what I've given you is what I think is the best overall practice regimen on a daily basis or in whatever scale you can do it. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. If there's somebody out there in the world you think might benefit from this information, feel free to tag them. If you know a player who's trying to make it at the highest level and you think they might benefit from hearing what I used to work on, feel free to tag them or share this with them. And if you have any questions, obviously you can comment. And if you like the video, please like it. All right, adios.